And I think the follow-up would be, because this pertains to what you were bringing up. What about your kids' friends who are coming to you and they're like, okay, dude, what the fuck is going on? And they're living in a home that maybe still believes this is not theater. This is all like, yeah, the government's taking care of you and the FDA is taking care of you and everyone's got your best interest in mind. How do you kind of plant seeds for them, because they're seeing something in you that is more resonant? They don't quite understand it because they've been brainwashed, let's say. How do you start to open that up in a kind of intentional way where you're not breaking their brain when they're not quite ready for it, even though that may be the best thing to happen?
Yeah. I would, and I have done this with some of my kids' friends. And it's just the same question. You're just taking it on a larger scale. You're saying, like, when you consume this media or when you watch this thing, just teaching them to ask themselves the question, like, what do they want me to believe right now? What are they asking me to believe? And what's the assumption that's being made right now? And typically what I'll teach my kids' friends is the way I work as a trial consultant, which is where a lot of my income comes from. I know nothing about the law, for the record here. But when this happens, the way that I am able to win trials and the way that you can persuade anybody, if you're a leader or a boss, is I just get you to feel clever. That's it. So I'll have one idea here and one idea here. And I'll get your brain to think, oh, you know what? I bet those things snap together like two little Legos. And if I can get you to feel clever, then you will automatically accept the idea because it came from within. Anything that comes from within our own mind, we cannot resist. So all I have to get you to do is adopt this new belief without telling you what to think. It's exactly the same as when you're watching the news and they're like, a local Austin woman found missing today. Neighbors report that earlier today she was seen arguing with her boyfriend. Details after the break. But then, like, you're watching that and you're like, oh, I know what happened. And you get that little moment of feeling clever just because these two little details get put in front of you. And if you can do that in life, you can get people to do a lot. But so instead of doing this to those kids, I'm teaching the kids about when there's two pieces of information and there's no string between them. They make you put the string between the ideas. That should terrify you, and that should be very scary. The only two things I ever told my kids should terrify them. Number one, when you have two ideas and nothing in between them, and your brain starts putting them together, number one. And number two is if any grown-up in the world ever asks you to keep a secret.
Oof. Can you expand upon the first one where there's two ideas and there's not a thread between them? Just flesh that out for me a little bit.
Yeah. So just like the news thing. So if someone says this geopolitical conflict is happening, at the same time they're saying that this person is in trouble in this country, and you're not getting a string between them. But they're pushing the ideas close enough together where you're like, oh, I bet this Saudi prince was involved with this attack on this one thing. Just because, ideas are always magnetic, especially if they have anything in common. So I get any two ideas close enough to each other, they become magnetic in your brain. But you're the one that assembles them.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is that's classic media manipulation.
Yes.
So you're teaching your kids to be aware of media manipulation.
Yeah, it's classic manipulation for everything.
Yeah.
In courtrooms,
right.
You could win a lot of trials just getting good at that one skill.
Right. I had an interesting moment with my 17-year-old was over with 4 or 5 friends, and they were all talking about the Epstein files and the, at the time of this shooting, we're in, I don't know, the 15th or 16th day of the Iran war, and all the kids were talking about it. And, I asked the kids, I'm like, all right, so, because they said to me, one of the kids says, like, what do we do? Like, we're juniors, we're about to be seniors, like, we play football, like, we're looking at colleges, like, what do we do? And I was like, well, interesting time to be alive. That's for sure. Like the foundations that generations before you could stand upon, even if they were false, there was firm footing there, and we could build a life. And now you're like walking on an ice sheet that's broken apart. And everywhere you step, it's unstable and it's tittering and tottering. I'm like, and there really seems to be like a they, so there's the proverbial they, there really seems to be a they.
Yeah.
So I asked the kids, I'm like, what is it that the they seem to hate? Because they seem to definitely hate certain things and want to point you in certain ways. So like, what do they hate? And the kids are like, I'm like, do they seem to hate like vulnerability and authenticity? Because they certainly want you stuck on your phones all the time. They're like, yeah. So I'm like, well, do they seem to love God or do they seem to hate God? They're like, well, they seem to kind of hate God. I'm like, do they seem to love prayer and meditation or do they seem to hate it? They're like, well, they seem to hate that. Do they want you having like authentic and real connections? They're like, with friends and some, no, they kind of want us on our phones. I'm like, right. Do they want you watching pornography or having like natural romantic relationships where your sexuality can evolve? They're like, no, they kind of want us watching pornography. I'm like, right. Do they want you healthy and robust or do they want you kind of sickly and stupid? They're like, no, sick. So I was like making those connections. I'm like, so if you just do the things as a young person that they seem to hate, you're going to build an amazing life. Like you're going to have authentic connection. You're going to know when to put your phone down and really connect with your peers and your friends. You're going to put down pornography and you're going to have like natural romantic relationships where your sexuality can evolve without some false expectation of what sexuality is supposed to be. You're going to eat foods that feel good and natural to your body. You're going to have clean water and like just embrace your youth. Fully embrace your youth and literally think of the system, the they, and all the things that they want you to do and kind of just do the opposite. And you're going to fucking rock your teenage years. And until the world completely blows up, go ahead and try to be an all-state football player or great at lacrosse or, whatever your aspirations are, fully engage in them, And it was a real like revelation for the kids. But part of it was there, like I was questioning them and they were putting the pieces together. Like if there really is a they, just think of the things that the they want you to do and the things that the they seem to hate and just go the other way.
You need to make that into like a 1-page PDF.
Oh,
that would be such a great infographic to kind of visually show all of those things.
Yeah.
I'll have my team do it actually. Just give me a list and I'll have my team put a really cool graphic together.
What's interesting? I wanted to ask you too. This is like shamelessly self-serving, but product bump.
Serve away.
My